This is a relay project.
Real Talk starts right now. Here's Ryan Jesperson.
Hey, nerds and geeks, this episode of Real Talk is for you. Johnny and myself, a couple of nerds and geeks, have gathered three others. They're actually at the top of their game, social media experts, strategists, and we're going to dig into this battle, the battle between the billionaires, Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. Not only will Threads take down Twitter, but are the two of them actually physically going to fight? We're going to talk about what's going on in the world around us, digitally and in real life. We're going to start talking about the evolution of how we've communicated online. Why is engagement so down on some platforms while others are exploding? We're going to be taking your comments from our live chat in the YouTube episode here on our live show, of course. And we're also going to be getting to some of your emails later on as Trash Talk is presented by Local Environmental. It's a Trumpian edition this time around. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the technical producer of this show, the straw that stirs the drink, John Hicks, is celebrating his birthday today.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Johnny, the show wouldn't be what it is without you, and today we celebrate you.
You're a great guy.
You're looking pretty
today.
fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
You kind of dressed it up a little bit on this
I'm
Friday.
getting older, so trying to look a little more my age. But I came in today. You always do this. You're like my second partner. You're like my second wife. There's a present waiting for me on the desk. I haven't opened it yet, but we'll see what it is.
You haven't opened it yet.
Well, you're like, you know how some people are really good gift givers? I'm not one of them. Like, my partner is the better one, obviously.
Yeah.
You always have like a really personal, like, good one, and I'm always like, here's a bottle of scotch and a cigar.
Yeah, well, part of your gift is a bottle of tequila, just to spoil the surprise.
Okay.
I was sort of hoping that Johnny might have opened it while our guests were in the green room so we could have all got into it. There's no gift giving like without getting in on it yourself. But in all seriousness, pal, happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
We're thrilled to celebrate
Cheers.
you today. We're going to be welcoming our three panelists. It's a live in-studio Real Talk Roundtable today in 30 seconds. But first, of course, with summer off to a great start, your kids have wrapped up the school year, right? And for a lot of you, things are winding down at work. A lot of us have vacation on the brain. I know that some of you are going to be listening to this podcast while you're road tripping. Well, maybe you're out at the lake. We thank you for that. But you got something else on your mind, don't you? You know that summer is the best time to take that real estate course that you've been thinking about and start a career that you actually love. You can leave cubicle life behind for good with Rello. Rello's online real estate courses are fully accredited to help you get your real estate license in Alberta. Get licensed to sell residential real estate, commercial real estate, or both with Rello's convenient, self-paced courses. That's a big detail. You can visit rello.ca. That's RELO.ca to get started today. I'll introduce our roundtable, and then we'll just drop the flag and get things going. It's a real pleasure to welcome three friends of mine. They're social media experts. Kathleen Smith has been in the game a long time. Probably most of your fans know you as Kiki Planet. That was the name of your e-zine. You were one of the first, as far as I know, in Western Canada doing independent digital publishing. And of course, you got a big, formidable following, a formidable presence online, in particular on Twitter. It's so nice to have you here in studio.
Great to be here. Thanks for the invite.
You got it. Beverley Teresa is a social media strategist. She's the owner of Throwdown Social Media. What a great name. She's got more than 10 years of experience, which means she's been in on a lot of these platforms since the very beginning. According to her official bio, she helps businesses not suck at social media through consulting and training. Beverley, it's nice to have you coming back.
I'm excited to be here, Ryan.
Really great to have you. And Carly Watson also joining us in studio. She's a social media expert. That's what she does professionally for a living. She's a great and talented photographer as well, with a deep passion for internet culture. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
What do you mean internet culture? What are we talking about?
So I mean internet culture, mostly memes, because I'm very passionate about that. As most people who follow me, they can kind of understand my weird girl aspect and my love for internet culture. Same as Beverley, I've kind of been on all platforms from the beginning, and We've seen it all, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just when you think you've seen it all,
Yeah.
there's always something else. So we're going to get to a few examples today. We're going to talk about RFK Jr. We're going to talk about Donald Trump. We're going to talk about this incident in Belleville with the Prime Minister being swarmed by his haters. I don't know if the three of you are like me. When I wake up in the morning, one of the very first things I do is look to see what's trending. Obviously, we want the show to be on top of things that are making news. I saw two names trending this morning, Tony Bennett and Bobby Orr. And I went, uh-oh. Yeah. And sure enough, the one, my fears confirmed, the legendary crooner, Tony Bennett, dead at 96. Happy to report Bobby Orr is still alive. Are you a big Tony Bennett fan? I can see it in your eyes, Kiki.
Huge.
Yeah.
Loved the man. I mean, my grandparents listened to that music, and I grew up with it as a result of that. And the man did a duet with Gaga.
Yeah.
Like, if Gaga loves him, I love him. That's all it takes.
What
So,
songs
yeah.
does he sing, though? I know his name, but I don't know. I can't recall. Like, I can't put his name to a song.
I'm always a fan when I'm put on the spot of answering a question with a question. So I would say, what songs doesn't he sing, Beverly? The guy's been around forever.
Yeah.
No, New York State of Mind. I mean, I obviously just
okay,
Googled
okay,
this.
okay.
I just Googled it. The Way You Look Tonight, Rags to Riches, Left My Heart in San Francisco,
Okay.
Very Thought of You.
San Francisco, that was his big hit. I
Yeah.
Left My Heart in San Francisco. I think that's always going to be the song that's most associated with Tony Bennett.
Yeah, class
But-
act.
Yeah.
Great. He was, the quintessential lounge singer. He was
Yeah.
the Vegas lounge act that made it big. And no one ever strongly disliked Tony Bennett.
Huh.
You might not be
At least
into
not
his
publicly.
music. No,
Yeah.
he was just like a great guy.
Yeah.
Are you when you wake up in the morning, Beverly? Are you on Twitter like in the first 10 minutes, or is that something that you ease into once you've had a couple coffees?
I check my email, and then I check Twitch because I want to see who's online, and then I check Twitter like after I've had coffee, after I've had breakfast.
I was telling you a quick story earlier this week. Somebody who I don't know, but a real talker, so I appreciate them right away, came up and said, "Why aren't you streaming on Twitch? Why aren't you on Twitch?" And
You don't need to be on Twitch, Ryan.
that's what I told
You
them.
literally do not have to be on Twitch.
Okay, so I'm hoping that we're going to have a lot of people that are super keen, that understand a lot about social media and the digital landscape listening to this. But some people are going to be listening to this to learn and kind of at the basic level. So Twitch is a platform where people can stream things like gaming.
Gaming, hot tub scenes,
What?
ASMR where they lick microphones so it sounds sexual. As well as like crafts. So that's what I do on Twitch. I do crafts. But you can also have talk shows on it, but I don't think your audience is on Twitch, Ryan.
Yeah, I agree. But and I said to this person, I said, well, we don't want to be on too many places. We want people to know that they can find us on YouTube or wherever they get their
Right.
podcasts.
Yes.
And you can stream our audio live on the Mixlr audio app. Presented by California Closets. But I don't think we need to be on 15 platforms.
No.
What would you tell businesses like ours? You tell us, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it.
Figure out if your audience is on it. And if they are, then go there. Or master what you're on right now. So master Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever you may be on right now, and then consider adding another platform.
Yeah, that especially.
Right. Yeah.
I think too many people are so focused on getting onto every platform that they forget maybe not every platform is right for you. You know?
Is there one that you've walked away from or one that you've not even joined?
Well, I
because you
walked
just-
away from Twitter a week ago.
A week ago?
Yeah, I've not tweeted in a week. I put my account on
Why?
protected and walked away. The Andrew Tate thing was my Twitter Waterloo.
Yep.
And that was the moment where I had to ask myself some very hard questions. I think if we're going to get into this now.
Yeah, let's get into it.
I think
First of all, okay, so Andrew Tate, he's like a mixed martial artist, but he's a digital personality, kind of a noted and proud misogynist. He's worth millions and millions of dollars. He was
Yeah.
recently indicted, wasn't he arrested in
Yeah.
Romania on human trafficking charges.
And
But
rape.
he's-
Yeah.
and rape, but he's got a huge following of hardcore fans.
Yeah, and he's currently on house arrest.
Okay, so
pending
what was the
trial.
Andrew Tate thing?
Seeing that Musk had sent him a check for $20,000.
Okay.
And that's directly from ad revenue. And then, of course, I mean, the three of us know how ad revenue works
Yeah.
on social media platforms. The more eyes that see the advertising
Yeah.
means more money. And now that money is going to someone like Andrew Tate. And it's not only immoral,
It's dangerous.
it's dangerous, and it's going to encourage men like Andrew Tate or other high-profile destructive accounts to be even worse.
Yes.
He is paying them to be even worse. And that was, for me, that was the moment where it dawned on me, I can't be here in good conscience anymore. I cannot open this platform and scroll and know that every time I'm scrolling, I'm contributing to the advertising dollars that Musk is paying to an alleged human trafficker and rapist who's on house arrest. Like, what am I doing? I can't even call myself a feminist and be on this platform.
Well, it's like,
So,
where are the morals in that, right?
yeah, like that for me was a breaking point. And we have a friend in common, Dr. Rob Tarswell. I think you've interviewed him at your last job a few times. I've known Rob since junior high school.
Yeah, we don't talk about the last job.
That's why I say just the last job.
No, we talk about it a lot, actually.
And he and I got into a discussion about it, and he's a psychiatrist who deals in urgent psychiatric care. And when he said to me, and he's dealt with rape victims, he's dealt with some of the worst scenarios we can imagine. And when he said to me, yeah, that was my Twitter Waterloo too. That was the moment I knew I had to get out. Then I felt better for it. I mean, it's not easy. I've been on there 13 years.
Well, I'm
It's
looking at
not
your.
easy.
So here's your tweet right here at Kiki Planet. You tweet, "I don't think I can be here in good conscience anymore," and then you link to a story from Aaron Rupert. Does an amazing job, by the way. But let me just say it. Like, you have 48,000 followers.
Yeah.
You co-host a podcast, the political Women of Alberta Politics podcast. Like, Twitter, to a certain degree, you sort of feel like you almost need it.
Yeah.
To do your job. So you're doing this at, I mean, I know you're not looking for pats on the back and stuff like that, but it's detrimental to what you're endeavoring to do. You're nailing your feet to the floor to a certain degree, right?
Yeah,
On a matter of principle.
And because we've been friends pretty much since
Long time.
the day I was first started on Twitter, that Twitter for me wasn't just a social media platform. It's become a very important part of my identity in this city.
Yeah,
even.
sure.
It's an extension of my life. And I held off a long time quitting for that reason. And we've built communities there. Mm-hmm. In the early days of Twitter, the Edmonton Twitter community did amazing things. Amazing.
It was kind of, Edmonton
work.
was almost kind of known, at least around the country, even further, as like a city that was very engaged, right?
Yeah. Internationally, we were known. I believe it was WAPO did a whole column about what an amazing Twitter community we built in this prairie town.
Huh.
We're one of the most active communities in Canada.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. You got to look at like Edmonton in itself. Like, I feel like Edmonton is such it's a big city with like small town kind of community. Like, everybody knows everybody. And I feel like there's so much activity that happens within Edmonton that really connects people. And on Twitter, it was just like a whole other dynamic of connecting online with everybody within Edmonton that way.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
What did you? So people, and myself included, are feeling like, or noticing in some cases, that it's undeniable that engagement is way down on the platform. Mm-hmm. Beverley, you joined us back on April 27th of 2022, and you were talking to us. This was right around the time that there were the rumblings that Elon Musk was moving to acquire Twitter, that it was going to be around $40 billion, the purchase price, and we brought you on to give us some insights onto how you thought that might shake up or influence the platform, what it might do to people who do business on the platform. I'm curious to see how your comments on this or your initial concerns have aged. Let's check the tape. Here's Beverley Teresa on Real Talk about a year and a half ago.
I've been using Twitter since 2008. I'm in love with it and would like to marry it, but also like I'm kind of on the fence. I'm really super excited to see where it goes, but also kind of nervous because I feel like it's like my social media baby. And as a marketer, him talking about how he doesn't maybe want to show as many ads and things like that. So how does that impact my industry as well?
Okay. So,
Well,
present day.
Twitter advertising has actually gone down, according to some reports, which is, I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing for Twitter, probably a bad thing. And engagement, I feel like, has gone down as well. And I I love Twitter still. I'm mad about certain things, but I'm still dedicated to the platform.
Yeah. What would be your assessment at this stage on what the Musk impact has been? Like, do you get the sense some people would assert that he's running this thing into the ground? Other people are going, well, this guy's kind of like, he's crazy like a fox, right? This guy's a guy that's built Tesla and SpaceX. And do you think he can do the same with Twitter?
I think he's running it down into the ground, unfortunately. And I am a big fan of Jack Dorsey, like the founder of Twitter. And Jack Dorsey has gone off to create other platforms similar to Twitter that haven't been as successful. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Twitter. I think Elon Musk kind of ruined it. But I also hate Threads, so there you go.
Well, here's the segue.
The advertising, though, that's a very good point. Musk himself has said advertising on Twitter is 50% down from when he took over the platform. And he's talking about how he doesn't even really have the cash right now to do anything with it. When he bought Twitter, it was valuated at $44 billion. Here we are 8 months later, and it was at $15 billion before Zuckerberg launched Threads. So what's he looking at now? I mean, his entire monetization, paying Andrew Tate, paying the
Krasensteins,
yeah. That's really about trying to get people to stay on this platform.
Do you have an issue with the Krasenstein twins, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
We had one of them on the show a while back.
Oh, did you?
Know that? Yeah.
They're Musk ass kissers.
Yeah.
They just kiss ass. And for them, it's all about their numbers and their popularity. It's not about being effective. So I'm not big fans of them.
But for most
either.
people on social media, it's about numbers
absolutely
and popularity.
It is. No, absolutely
it brings out the worst in people, doesn't it? Like it brings out in our vanity.
Yeah,
right?
our narcissism.
In our ego and our narcissism.
Yeah, it feeds it. It absolutely does. I mean, I've been prey to that. You've been prey to that.
Of course.
I think anyone who manages to establish any kind of following on the platform, you fall prey to the local celebrity.
You start thinking you're a pretty big deal.
Oh, hell. You do. And you can get trapped in that for years. But I think there's still some people who have attempted at least to continue using the platform for the greater good. But when you've got an owner who is basically, fuck the good.
Yeah.
Because that's his approach to everything.
Not just that, support the bad.
Yeah, support the bad. He's amplified the absolute dredges of the internet.
Like, it just makes it okay for other people who are like hiding within those thoughts and those values that they have to vocalize them and put them on the internet. And it's just astounding to me to see how many people that I was even close to within like the last 5 years that I am no longer close to, because I didn't realize that they had these certain things that had come out of them because that had made it okay for them to vocalize it, or at least in their mind.
Well, and I think we have to consider, too, that trolls and bot farms aren't content creators. Mm-hmm. So when Musk takes to his own Twitter account to brag about, screen time's up this much, and engagement is up this much. Well, we don't know where he's getting the numbers from. They're not internals. We know that much. And the other thing he's not telling people is that you might have some butthead in mommy's basement who's got 50 troll accounts, and he's running them all, and each account is tweeting, a tweet per minute. That is not content.
No.
And the content creators that drove Twitter, that made the platform what it is, and did that work for free, they're leaving in hordes now.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a space there for content creators anymore.
Okay, so when you pieced out from Twitter a week ago, did you automatically, or had you already moved over to Threads?
It was already there.
You had activated. It's simple to use for people that don't know. Basically, this, and you all three can correct me because I really don't know what I'm talking. I have a basic. Just ask Johnny. I have a basic working understanding of all of this. But if you had an Instagram account already, they've made it pretty simple. You still have the same username. You basically click one button and then you have Threads.
Yep.
Threads is kind of like a hybrid of Instagram and Twitter, right? It's.
I would say it's more like early Twitter.
Okay.
I think I'm not sure how much your audience is aware of how Threads came about.
Well, school us.
Let's discuss that just a little bit. So Zuckerberg's team at Meta had already been working on an extension for Instagram that they didn't plan on serving as a Twitter replacement, but more of just a way to get some people from Twitter to move over to their engagement platform. Then Musk put that limit on reads.
Yeah.
So out of the blue, we all wake up one morning and, hey, guess what? If you're not an $8 chuckle fuck, here,
I need to write that down.
I was going to say, we got to put that on a T-shirt. $8 chuckle fuck. I am stealing that, but I will credit you.
You need to tweet it.
Yeah. So if you're not paying him $8 a month to be on the platform, well, guess what? You only get to read 600 tweets. I have 46,000 followers. I follow close to 15,000 people. 600 tweets?
That's a joke.
That's 90 seconds
Yeah.
on Twitter for me. And then I can't read anymore.
Yeah.
Then my rate limit is expired. Well, when Meta saw this, they immediately decided, okay, we have to launch now.
Yeah.
And they weren't ready to launch, but they launched it anyways. And unfortunately, I think in the absence of a few fundamental Twitter options, that hurt them. And they are slowly working on the platform and bringing those options in. But until they've got, I think it was a mistake for him to launch without hashtags. He should have at least waited till
I agree. Yeah.
he had hashtags, because that turned a lot of people off. They couldn't find the topics they wanted. They couldn't find the other users they wanted to engage with.
I love that podcast, Today Explained. They do a really great job. I don't know if you guys
Oh,
listen
it's
to it.
awesome.
It's like a 12 to 15 minute. They do such a good job. And they were saying that one of the fascinating things about watching Threads in the first couple of days was you could see improvements happening. You've got like some of the world's best code. What do you call them? Code writers,
Programmers?
authors, code programmers.
Yeah.
Some of the world's best working on it. And so they would say, like, you could see the app evolving over the course of several hours.
Yeah.
And improvements being made to it. Typically, though, that's not how you want to launch something. You don't want to be doing it in the public eye.
No, but he played it smart. The thing he did that was smart was make that like a draw, make it a bonus. You get to tell us what you want next.
You're in on the
Yeah.
ground floor.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you, in the first 5 minutes of the show, you assert, Beverly, I hate Threads.
I don't like it.
How come?
Personally, like for personal use, I do not like it because, okay, well, I don't really use Instagram that much, and some of the Instagram people I follow, I don't really like. I just follow them back.
Why?
It's a creep follow.
Can we turn this into like a psychologist moment? Like, why do you think that is? Do you feel pressure to follow back?
I do feel pressure to follow back. Even like even on Twitter, like a real person will, I make sure they're a real person. A real person will follow me, and I'm like, and maybe they've tweeted at me before, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll follow you back, even though I don't want to.
Ah, I see. Interesting.
I'm just a nice person. I can't help being this nice.
Yeah, you are a nice person. But you've got strong words. You're a good Canadian. You've got strong words for Threads. What is it kind of in particular?
I think that people are going to like the Instagram users are going to confuse it for, hey, this is just going to be where I post the same stuff that I post on Instagram on Threads. And also, I just feel like, I don't know, it's missing so many features, as well as like you can't delete Threads. Like you can't delete your username from Threads unless you delete your Instagram account, which I don't really like.
It's changing soon, though.
Yeah.
Meta's promised that'll change within the next month or so.
I have to say what I do like about it is, so I have Instagram verified for many reasons. Obviously, I wanted to test it just based on, working with so many clients over the years. I wanted to see what it was about. But when Threads was introduced, it also transfers over to Threads. So you're not just verified on Instagram, you're verified on Threads.
And help people understand, like, why is it such a big deal to be verified? Everyone, I mean, Kiki just references the $8 chuckle fucks. It's almost like if you're paying to be verified on Twitter right now, it's almost embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
honestly,
one way
I
to
just
look.
like-
It's a one way to look at it, but I look at it as kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
So why is that good for you on the other platforms?
So Instagram in particular, I mean, over, I'd say even the last couple years, like there have been so many fake bot accounts. I've seen so many people click a link by accident because one of their friends sent it to them, not knowing that they were hacked. And basically the verification program within that is just an extra layer of protection versus just having like second authentication. So that's what I really like about it. That, and if somebody goes and makes a fake account of me and say post some like really like offhand things that like I would never agree with, it's very clearly not me. People know that I'm me.
Got it.
Yeah.
The Spectator Index posting some interesting numbers just a few days ago, and I'm curious for your take on this as well. The concern, of course, might be with any new venture that it's a flash in the pan. Threads had, as of the 7th of July, shortly after launch, 49 million daily active users. Not too shabby for a brand new app. 7 days later, on the 14th of July, 23 million daily active users. The number slashed in half.
People were also spending, I think, in the beginning, on average, about 25 minutes on Threads, and now it's 8 minutes a day.
Okay.
So
what does that tell you as an expert?
I think it's just too early for businesses. Like, if you want to test it out, but I think it's too early to tell. And we've seen Facebook or Meta try and do other products, like I think it was Parse or Beacon, I forget what it was called, but it was similar to Snapchat, and it failed. And then they basically tried to copy TikTok, but still can't steal the users away from TikTok. So it's kind of like Meta keeps trying these things, and we'll have to see if it's successful or not.
What does that say about me in this show that I didn't even mention TikTok in the first 28 minutes? Is that how
do
big?
Do you use TikTok?
We have people can follow Real Talk on TikTok,
but
and I
do
love.
You use it?
I do have an account. People are welcome to follow me, but they won't see anything there yet because, quite frankly, I feel like I'm spread too thin.
Yeah.
But I'm really proud of our Real Talk TikTok. We call it Real Talk, TOK, you like that? Yeah. But I think it's a really neat way to we'll take this hour that a lot of people are going to enjoy the full hour, but some people want it in 60 seconds or less or 40 seconds be like, what was the best moment? What was the biggest highlight?
Wait, let me be clear, Ryan. Do you surf TikTok?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I'm there all the time.
Oh,
I'm there all the
there
time too.
constantly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've never
So we buried the
uploaded a
lead.
video.
We buried the lead. You're spending all your time on TikTok. What is it about
Love it.
TikTok? It's just the algorithm has you in its clutches.
Yeah,
Is it
and-
like you start scrolling and then all of a sudden it's 90 minutes later?
Yeah.
Well, and if you find that niche, if you like enough of the videos that you really like, then your feed is just, it's glorious.
Everything you love.
It's wonderful.
In one place. And it's
Yeah.
just constant scrolling. And honestly, I love TikTok so much. I joined the platform like many people did beginning of COVID, like seeing everybody doing like the TikTok dances. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to feel this out. And, it's funny because when we had first moved to our new place, my dog went and dug a hole. My dog has never dug in its life, and I just took a video of it, and I was like, how funny would it be to put this on TikTok with some like ominous music and be like, oh, like my dog's sniffing this area. And literally within 24 hours, it had like 5 million views.
What?
It's up to like 30 million at this point. It is still going, and this is like 2 years later.
Wow.
And
that's not monetized, right?
No.
Okay.
Carly is popular on TikTok. Can't confirm. She appears on my For You page, and I'm like, this girl is from my city. I know her.
But I love TikTok because it's just like those things, just the most one-off, like wonderful internet culture type things just blow up, and you never know.
So all three of you are just raving about it.
I love it.
Hey, all four.
I
love
don't-
it. You're big on TikTok
Yeah,
too, but what about the Chinese and surveillance and loss of privacy and
It's
intellectual
exactly
property?
the same as other social media platforms.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't get away from it. And I think people, canceled. People who complain about like, oh, my privacy, my data. It's like, okay, delete your phone, throw your phone in the garbage,
In the
throw
river.
away your Air
Don't go
Miles
outside.
card. Don't use a credit card. Don't use a debit card. Like, you don't want to be tracked. Don't go outside because there's cameras everywhere. Like, just go live in the bush and have a garden, and that's it.
Okay.
Legit.
I mean, that actually sounds pretty amazing. You go live in the middle of
That
nowhere.
sounds
and
like Jespo.
grow your own food. My brother's been growing his own for 20 years, if you know what I mean. What? Back in just a second, I want to get our panelists' take on a couple of stories making news. There's a donair costume up for auction that's probably going to sell, if it's trending in the right direction, for more than $10,000. The Prime Minister swarmed at an event in Ontario, and the executive director of Alberta Premier Danielle Smith's office, a curious tweet yesterday, essentially praising the pretty polarizing figure. If you don't know what we're talking about, you won't want to go anywhere. This episode is presented by our wonderful friends at the Dairy Queens of Northwest Edmonton and Sherwood Park. In our neck of the woods today, it's going to be like 30 degrees and hot. It is a perfect day. It's a perfect weekend to check out the DQ 2023 Summer Blizzard Treat menu, including the Reese's Caramel Pretzel Blizzard Treat. We've got a whole bunch of other seasonal favorites. How about the S'mores Blizzard, Cotton Candy, Choco Dipped Strawberry? You can find all of them at the Dairy Queens in Palisades, Nemeo, Newcastle, Westmount, that's my home DQ, and of course in Sherwood Park at Baseline Road. Our friends at Grand Dog Essentials Quality Raw Food want to let you know that this is the time of year. It's a perfect time of year to keep a keen eye on how your dogs are doing, because seasonal allergies can be a real thing. A lot of that can have to do with what they're eating, but there's also some great supplements that you might want to check out at granddog.ca. Also wanted to let you know that they've got a promotion running for this entire month, and we're going to be telling you more about that through the course of next week. But we want to make sure that you can fill your freezer. If your dogs are like ours, devouring their Grand Dog Essentials quality raw food, you are not going to want to miss that opportunity. Stay tuned. We're going to tweet about that. The deal itself will be in the show notes on this episode on podcast and on YouTube. Want to make sure you don't miss it. It's a special for the month of July exclusively at granddog.ca. We're thrilled for our friends at the YWCA of Edmonton. They've been named the recipients, the 50-50 partners, essentially, at this year's K-Days. What does that mean? It means that there's hopefully going to be a big check coming their way to help fund programs. They do a ton of amazing and very important work in the community. Here's the call to action. We want you to be part of something big, right? Join the volunteer team on the K-Days grounds between July 21st and 30th to help spread the word about the 50-50. Benefits include free entry to K-Days, free transportation with Edmonton Transit, and a $10 food voucher. Of course, the biggest benefit of all of this is that you're helping the YWCA Edmonton with all of their programs. You'll find the link in the show notes if you want to sign up to volunteer and help out our friends at the YWCA. And a lot of talk this week on the show about the oil sands, about emissions, about Canada's role in global climate commitments. Randy Boissonnault, federal minister on Monday. Mike Lake, Conservative MP, Tuesday. Stephen Guilbeault, Environment Minister, Wednesday. Right? Big show. Even yesterday, it's coming up in conversation, talking about methane with Jeff Galis, his Alberta Views piece. Of course, we know this is on your radar. You know that oil sands operations contribute significant carbon emissions in Canada. That's why the 6 largest companies are working together and with governments to take strides on the path to net zero from their operations. You can learn more about what they're doing at pathwaysalliance.ca.
Just a few numbers there. I'll throw them in. Simple Web, which is kind of like an app watchdog, says most apps that become popular as fast as Threads, they usually lose about 30% of their followers or people who sign up within like 6 to 10 days.
6 to 10 days?
Yeah, so that may be what we're seeing here is people sign up, they check it out, and then they peace out, or they leave it on their phone and they come back later. Second of all, Twitter engagement down 18.7%. They
so
say,
how do they? What
since
are they?
the Musk
How are
takeover.
they? Back to our experts, Beverley. Thanks, Johnny, for that. Beverley, Teresa, Kathleen Smith. I was just one like Kiki, but Kathleen, Kiki Smith, and of course Carly Watson joining us. Is that something that raises a red flag to you? Does that sound alarm bells to you? You see engagement down 20%.
I think it's normal. Like, remember Clubhouse that launched during the pandemic?
Oh my gosh, yes.
They're laying off 50% of their staff, like in the last couple of months. It's like, what happened to that app? Like, it blew up. Everyone was using it. Well, not everyone. But yeah, it's just, it lost its
Wasn't that the one you had to be like invited to or something, or someone, people?
It was, I think it was App Store, like iTunes only or whatever. And yeah. And you just talked on it.
Okay.
And, I think part of what's happened with Threads too, if you don't, is people expected to join Threads and have it immediately be like Twitter.
Yeah.
And what people have seem to forget is that Twitter wasn't great when we all first joined it in the beginning either. Like, it took time to build the communities. It took time to figure out how we were going to use that platform to our advantage. The things I've seen on Threads that I actually do really like is you define your experience on the platform by how you engage, how you interact. If you like a tweet from a troll, a post or a thread. We
Yeah.
don't call them tweets. If you like something there, you're going to get more of it.
Yeah.
If you engage with something there, you're going to get more of it. You control what's happening in your feed. And there's some people who don't, they're not crazy about having to put in that effort. What I also like is right now, the users on threads are taking control of the platform and moderating it themselves. And that's something that has been seriously lacking on Twitter. So if you're on threads and you start engaging, because there are some trolls in there, there are some far
Of course.
right-wingers that have already transitioned over. That tangy lasagna person is there, and heaven knows she causes, what's her name, Tammy Lauren?
Oh,
or-
yeah.
I just call her Tangy Lasagna. She's in there.
Did you give her that name? Or
Yeah. I don't know, that's what
do
I've
you
always
just stay
called
up at
her.
night and just scribble these things?
You got to make a T-shirt company. Yeah.
Agreed. We need to bring you on board.
If you engage with her, you're going to get more of her.
Yeah.
But what you're also going to get is some high-profile accounts that have already transitioned over, telling you to cut that shit out. He's saying to you, look, are we going to repeat the same mistakes we made over on Twitter? Are we going to amplify the worst of the internet? Are we going to, in the name of the gotcha gang, requote these people, retweet these people, and give them exposure to our own audiences? So it's fabulous to see users taking responsibility for
Taking
keeping
control.
the room tidy.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, this is a new joint. We're going to keep it clean in here.
Yeah. Let's have
Everybody's
fun.
going to be cool. So it's a righteous vibe right now. Whether or not the righteous vibe can last.
Yeah.
I mean, it's social media.
I do have to say, though, it's really interesting to me just from, a standpoint of what I do for my work. Just the transfer over of the audience from Instagram. I'm seeing folks who have literally never been on Twitter.
Yeah.
Period. Loving threads. And I'm like, guys, where have you been? Like, do you know of Twitter? But they love it. And now they're within that type of community. And like for me personally, obviously it's dependent on what you like and what you post and what you interact with. But for me, it's a good mix between Twitter, Instagram, and kind of Tumblr or like old
Yes,
school
very
Tumblr.
much.
And I'm finding it's a lot of like very like content, like visual based. At least on my end currently, and people are just having fun. It's really refreshing. Some days, and I'm sure you both can relate to this, being on Twitter can be so exhausting, just scrolling through there, especially over the last few years. It's just like, there's messages that need to be put out there for sure, but man, there is just some draining stuff, especially with how the algorithm is working right now on there.
Yeah. And like
yeah.
Kiki said too, with accounts, some dubious ones, some nefarious ones being rewarded
Yes.
financially for what they're tweeting. I mean, Twitter has been a home for, I mean, you kind of like take the good with the bad in a sense. And I don't believe that tech is inherently bad. It's the application of the tech. Is the atomic bomb inherently bad? No. Is the use of it, the application of it, problematic in many circumstances, if not most? Obviously, right?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of a weird example, but there you go. So, I mean, you want to talk about conspiracy theories? You want to talk about where it's gone since, probably 2016, but even before, with Trump being elected as president of the United States. I mean, geez, his social media journey pretty interesting as well with Truth Social. He's still sort of refusing. He was playing it cool with Twitter, not coming back after he was banned under previous ownership. But the conspiracy theories that we see can fester and spread quickly on Twitter, which brings me to the next point. I wanted to put this in front of you all. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr. yesterday or this week has been testifying. Republicans. I mean, the guy wants to be the Democratic nominee for president, right? He wants to represent the Democrats. He wants to run against Trump. And a lot of people are really cynical about that and questioning the motivation because it just feels like a weird fit, right? The Republicans are the ones that invited him to testify before Congress this week about supposed censorship on social media. But if you were watching those proceedings, you know that it went well beyond that. Accusations of his past and anti-Semitic comments, his insistence that he's, quote, never said anything racist or anti-Semitic even once in his life. Let me tee this up, and we're going to bring this back local in just a second. But here's RFK Jr. on the record talking about COVID-19 and who it's bioengineered to target.
COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
Okay, so the Jews and the Chinese are escaping the bio-targeted COVID-19. This didn't sit well with a lot of the representatives that were participating in these committee hearings, and that includes a congressman out of Virginia, Jerry Connolly, a Democrat and a big fan of the Kennedy name, as we heard yesterday, scathing words.
And no matter what you may think, Mr. Kennedy, and I revere your name, you're not here to propound your case for censorship. You are here for cynical reasons to be used politically by that side of the aisle to embarrass the current president of the United States, and you're an enabler in that effort today. And it brings shame on a storied name that I revere. I began my political interest with your father, and it makes me profoundly sad to see where we have descended today in this hearing. I yield the balance of my time.
Yields the balance of his time. Strong words. So here's why this is relevant today on a prairie-based podcast talking about social media. As RFK Jr. is trending yesterday for all the wrong reasons. If you're hoping that RFK Jr. is going to beat out the current president of the United States for the Democratic nomination, yesterday was probably not a great day if you're looking at why he was trending. But there's one tweet seeing a lot of action from Rob Anderson. He's a former Alberta MLA with the Wild Rose Party, and he's currently the executive director of Premier Danielle Smith's office. He tweeted yesterday profoundly powerful words from Democrat RFK Jr. for politicians and their teams of all stripes to consider regarding censorship and cancel culture. Regardless of his political views, it's hard not to cheer for this man. He seems to possess great character.
Jesus.
Now, obviously,
character.
The NDP are having a field day with this. Let's talk about the potential consequences of this. Let's talk about the pros and cons and why the executive director of a premier's office might choose to take this opportunity to tweet that. What's your first impression?
Well, character. Are we really going to mention Rob Anderson and character in the same sentence? Rob Roomba Anderson, who continually crossed the floor and kept sucking. That's why I like to call him a Roomba. The man's got like no place to be speaking about character. The truth of the matter is that RFK Jr. is batshit. He's batshit, and he's the worst kind of batshit because unlike a lot of the conspiracy theory opportunists that we've seen arise over the last, I'd say, good 6 to 7 years is when we've really seen an explosion of this, especially since 2016 and the beginning of the Trump days. RFK Jr. believes his own shit. And that's what I find most concerning. He's not one of these opportunists like, I won't say his name, but the one who runs a media outlet that isn't really a media outlet.
Oh, go ahead. You're talking about Ezra Levant.
Yeah, I really think Levant's an opportunist. I don't think Levant believes half the shit.
That is the least controversial thing you've ever said.
I don't think he believes half the shit that he pushes out there. But he knows how to capture an audience, and he knows how to play an audience. RFK Jr. believes his shit. And that's very concerning to me. So as much as I'm happy to see him called out, it has been distressing to watch these hearings and to realize that so many Republicans know that the man is a little bit outside of his mind, but they don't care.
So let me ask you this, Beverley, because you announced, you let people know your number one skill set is helping businesses and let's say organizations, maybe governments, not suck on social media. For the executive director of the Premier's office, was this actually an astute move yesterday? Because he doesn't need to appeal to everybody. Rob Anderson's not trying to change the mind of NDP supporters right now. He's trying to make sure that their base, the conservative base, is strongly supporting the Premier. Was it actually a wise move?
It's funny because I've actually trained like local politicians on social media. And I would that guy needs some training. I don't follow politics, so I ignorantly don't know who that person is. But yeah, I think, I feel like it's just like once you're in a certain position, you can say whatever the fuck you want, and people will either love you or they hate you. But I feel like there's also like, oh, there's an opportunity here to troll people. Let me be a troll. But also, I'm glad that I'm not going to get COVID because I'm not white or black. So,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, you really dodged the bullet.
I know.
You know, we need more people talking about how life has been especially difficult for white people over the last while. That maybe that'll be our next Friday roundtable, Johnny. What do you think? I don't know. Maybe we'd advise against that. That idea.
Hurt my feels. You're gonna hurt my white lady feels.
It didn't make it past the cutting room floor. Could it have been actually a smart move? I mean, is the executive director of the Premier's office putting this out? I mean, the NDP is appalled by this, but he doesn't give a shit about what the NDP thinks.
To be honest, it comes back to, you know, these folks have influence, and that's dangerous. I think a lot of them really, truly don't understand, like, the responsibility and the accountability that they have to hold within that kind of position. You know, I feel like they can go online, say what they want to say, and then they sit there because they think it's okay. And then you have these folks who, you know, they'll have these ideas in the back of their head, but they don't, you know, vocalize them. And then, you know, it just makes it okay for people to say things that are very clearly like racist, very clearly just completely not okay.
Science denialism.
Yes,
the entire mess. I think it's important too that we need to keep in mind that operatives like Rob Anderson, and Rob Anderson is a political operative. Yeah. Operatives at his level know how to make the other side look bad and are willing to look a little bit foolish to achieve that goal.
Sure.
So by tweeting something like that, well, now the NDP is all riled up and losing their shit. Mm-hmm. And that's all we're going to see for a couple days. I think it's not only about the person pushing the misinformation or the person lauding the racism. It's about how the rest of us react to it.
100%. And
a lot of the reaction is not constructive. It's just toxic. And then it's people screaming at each other, which has become a game. It's like, it's the game we all play now online, where we fight with each other instead of trying to have conversations.
Yeah, like taking a step back and just actually thinking before you start or head into a conversation, you know, and I mean, like, I used to be like very much within my advocacy with eating disorders and anti-diet culture, which I still am. But even then, like, I had to take a break. And I had to take a step back from certain things because you can't fight all battles.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of people just have this knee-jerk reaction to those things instead of actually like taking the time to think about what they want to say and if they're going to put that energy into it and give them that spotlight.
Yeah. Oh, the gotcha gang gets fired up.
Yeah.
Fired up. The gotcha gang is always going to be there, waiting for the chance to prove how much better they are, to prove how much more progressive they are. But there comes a point where you have to ask yourself, am I tweeting this to look good? Am I amplifying this because we need to have a discussion about it? Or am I doing it so I get pats on the back for calling it out?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and don't read the comments.
Never read the bottom half of the internet. Stay out of the bottom
Save
half
your
of the
mental
internet.
health.
And there's no, like, for me, for a longest time, I would read comments and then I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to write something back to them. And now it's just like, you're so dumb. And then I just scroll on past. I'm like, not worth my mental health.
Carly, you mentioned your advocacy when it comes to eating disorders. And I should mention your previous appearance on Real Talk. If people want to check that out, an extremely powerful roundtable. People can check our archives. We talk about eating disorders, fat phobia. I mean, it was just a really meaningful conversation where our three panelists, including yourself, really put it all out there. That was February 4th of 2022. People can check that out on our YouTube channel or wherever you find your podcasts. In just a second, if you needed any evidence that maybe we've lost our ability to disagree without being disagreeable, as they say, we're going to go to an absolutely bonkers situation in Belleville, Ontario in just a second. The Prime Minister swarmed by some of his loudest critics. First, though, I wanted to remind you about yesterday's conversation with Jeff Galis, who's a journalist and an author based out of Missoula, Montana. He talked to us about hidden harm. That's Alberta's methane problem. You can watch that episode on YouTube. You can find it on your podcast, and you can read Jeff's piece in Alberta Views magazine. We wanted to let you know that subscribers of Real Talk, friends of Real Talk, have an exclusive opportunity, though it's cool if you tell all your friends as well, to save 50% on a 1-year subscription to Alberta Views magazine using the promo code AVRJ. It's the magazine for engaged citizens. We're proud to partner with them. They do amazing work. I loved, did you see in the live chat yesterday, a bunch of people were talking to us about why they've subscribed to Alberta Views since hearing about it on Real Talk.
Yeah.
It's $20 for 10 issues delivered right to your door. If you want to stay informed, if you want to stay engaged, we go to albertaviews.ca. Again, that promo code is AVRJ. These conversations happen because of Real Talk sponsors like our friends at Eden Landscaping. You can find them online at landscapeedmonton.ca. I've been telling you a little bit about our journey, and we're going to start showing photos pretty soon. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what, we'll bring some photos and video in next week of the before and the current. Our family, we've been putting, a plan together, including a budget, to get our backyard reinvented, to make it better fit our family, to look decent with 2 big dogs out there. You know what they can do to lawn. And of course, we got 2 boys that need to be able to play out there as well. So the space has to be functional, but we want to entertain adults too. They found this amazing balance. Yesterday, I get a call from Mike. He shoots me a text first. Never cold call somebody. Always text first. Mike texts. He says, "You available for a call?" Number 1, he scores points with me there. I go, uh-oh. Our landscape contractor needs a quick phone call. Where's this going to go? I give him a call. You know what he says? He goes, "We found some people when their backyards get dug up, they feel a little bit of anxiety." He says, "I'm just calling to make sure everything's good. I'm wondering if you have any questions. I'm wondering if you need anything early in the process." I said, "Mike, I know exactly what I'm telling the Real Talkers tomorrow. This is what you get when you deal with a family-owned, family-run business like Eden Landscaping. Do what we did. Get your free quote today. Start that conversation by seeing them online at landscapeedmonton.ca. It's a big weekend at Friesen Brothers, the watermelon eating contest. Do you think anybody's going to beat you, Johnny, in the watermelon eating contest at Friesen Brothers this weekend?
I haven't been necessarily training.
Oh.
But I have been watching a lot of videos.
They say that before something like this, you're going to want to drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
Like a lot of water before, and then leave it some time. This is the Joey Chestnut secret to just stuffing your face in eating competitions.
The style is called Dyson. It's just suck it up as fast as you can. Apparently, it just blends going down the throat. So you just got to take it in as fast as you can.
Roomba and Dyson are going to get some play on the show today here on Real Talk. I love it. Friesen Brothers also letting you know that the July 22nd, you can learn more by checking out friesen.com/watermelonfest. It's also Ivan's Sausage Summer. They've got a ton of specials. You can read them online. They're giving away a bunch of really cool stuff. It's a photo contest. They want to see how you enjoy Ivan's Sausage. You can submit your photos. Find the details online at friesen.com. That's FRESON.com. This message is aimed at professional engineers across the country, or maybe aspiring professional engineers. Are you about to enter maybe your 4th year of study at an engineering school here, anywhere in Canada? Are you currently a PEng, but basically your job situation is lousy? You don't feel inspired. You're not reaching your potential. You're looking for a way out, but you're not going to go until you find something solid? Do yourself a favor. Check out apexautomation.ca today. They're hiring engineers across the board, people that want to be part of Industry 4.0, people intrigued by automation in the energy industry, in the brewing industry, in big tech. There's a ton of opportunity at Apex Automation. And we also want to give a big shout out, especially during these Real Talk roundtables where we welcome friends of the show into this studio. A reminder that this studio was built by the team at Complete Care Restoration. That's why we have the confidence to give them 2 thumbs up when it comes to their professionalism, their commitment to their craft, their efficiency, and their ability to stay on budget. That's a big deal for us. They're experts in fire damage and flood damage. We know this time of year, some of you are going to be dealing with a real gut punch based on wildfires, based on flooding, based on, for some of you, it's just that big rainfall. Your foundation's 50 years old. It's got a few cracks. The next thing you know, you got a huge mess on your hands. Make your first call. Make your first inquiry, to Complete Care Restoration. You can find them under the sponsors tab on our website, ryanjesperson.com. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his team forced to cancel an event in Belleville, Ontario yesterday after he was swarmed by protesters. There's a remarkable video posted online. Certainly not appropriate for any of the kids that might, if you still have kids listening at this point in the show, but this one for real. You don't want the kids hearing this, but that's kind of part of the point. It's kind of part of the reason why we're playing it. We're going to play the full 90 seconds, and then I'm going to get Carly and Kathleen and Beverley's take on it. Here's the Prime Minister swarmed in Belleville, Ontario.
Arrest this piece of shit! Arrest him! You're a criminal! You're a criminal! You're the reason why Mike didn't get a fucking nothing! You're a piece of shit criminal! You're a fucking criminal! You need to be arrested!
All right, so you get the idea. There's fuck Trudeau flags. There's Trump flags. The Prime Minister's security detail, in my mind, doing an absolutely incredible job.
Amazing.
Just keeping their cool, getting him to safety. He was on his way to a farmer's market. He was in Belleville to meet with the mayor and commemorate the 7th anniversary of the Liberals introducing the child care benefit, but that event was cut short. Kiki, you look actually like, I don't know how to describe it. You look like you just got really bad news.
Well, I'm struggling with the emotion of it all. There's a part of me that really wants to say this isn't who we are as Canadians, but guess what? This is exactly who we are as Canadians.
It's the reality right now.
It's the reality, and I'm torn between being saddened to see this happen in my home country, and also being really fucking mad at politicians who continue to use divisiveness and fear-mongering and outright lies to their own benefit. And there has got to be a point where we all wake up and realize how we're being used and abused by a political system that doesn't care if we rip each other apart, as long as they're in office, as long as they're the ones who have the power, and as long as their donors are the ones benefiting from it.
And truly, that's like a visual representation of exactly what we were talking about, of how dangerous influence can be online. Yeah. I heard one of the folks in that crowd screaming pedophile. I mean, there's so much violence and so much misinformation going on within the queer and trans community, especially with this side of things. And then to see something like that in real life, it leaves me so ashamed of just how we got here, you know, and where's the humanity, regardless of where you stand on your political stance? Like, where is your humanity? Where is any sort of like
self-respect?
Yeah.
Self-respect and dignity.
Yeah. Yeah. It's truly astounding. And it makes me really sad as well, too, to see that. But yeah, it comes down to a lot of like very dangerous influence online, too.
I just thought it was funny. You guys are so deep. I literally was like, that guy needs to shut up and stop yelling because there's children. It's sad.
Yeah, there were kids around there, by the way. I should have mentioned that.
It's definitely sad, but also, like, can we talk about how he's very gorgeous and his hair?
Hot zaddy.
I'm just like, in my own world, maybe. And it's just like, yeah, people like that exist. Yeah, I've had people be racist to me and just like yell at me unfortunately in person. And it's just like, kudos to him for just being like, hey, I'm going to meet these people who actually like me and kind of just ignore these real life trolls.
How about that one lady? Did you see for people listening on the podcast, let me mention it, about 30 seconds into that video, there's a woman, if you're looking for the woman in hijab, she comes up and gets her selfie like in the middle of this melee. She's like, hey, and just gets a quick photo and then disappears. I was like, but for me, I don't think like it's not a laughing matter at all, because that could have gone sideways in a real hurry.
Well,
like all it takes is, and I don't know if you heard at one point halfway through, again, for those on the podcast, the one lady screaming, get your hands off me, get your hands off. You know who she's saying that to? She's saying that to a member of the Prime Minister's security detail. Like, if you fuck with the Secret Service in the U.S., get your hands off me. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're face first in asphalt, in
North
hand,
Korea.
like zip tied in your hand. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, like,
Yeah.
I think, but, and I'm not suggesting that we want martial law and heavy police force all the time, but I just thought for the Prime Minister to be able to, and I don't care which way you vote, I don't care who you support politically, I don't want to see any politician in Canada treated this way, and I don't want to see events happening like this, incidents, let me call it, happening like this, because somebody could very easily be killed in a situation like that, seriously injured.
He's already had to do campaign appearances during the last election in a bulletproof vest.
And then,
because
of course, people
threats on his life.
People
and
were suggesting that was a cooked up scenario.
Yeah, or they call him a wimp.
Yeah.
Because he had to wear a bulletproof vest.
Well, because they had received death threats.
The insanity of it all.
Those people were on a long leash, I feel like.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I don't know what his, what was his security team thinking,
Well, because, and you know what? And that is an interesting thing, too. And I wonder if, because and I'm not an expert on this, obviously, you know what we should get? We should get, we've got some friends that work in private security. We actually hire them to work our Real Talk events because they blend in. They
the granddaddy.
Nobody knows that they're here to bust skulls if they need to. I'm
secret
kidding.
shopper.
I'm kidding. Yeah, they're like, they are. We have secret security at our events, obviously. And anyway, maybe we should get them on the show next week to talk to us about the mindset, because they do VIP protection. They do like pickups and private jets. They escort the people that you don't know are in town, and that's the whole point. So maybe we'll pick their brain next week if they're available on that. But I watch how, for example, I've watched some of these images of Secret Service in action when there's a threat or when there's a perceived threat. Sometimes it's just something at an event falling and making a big bang noise, and all of a sudden there's 4 people covering the president, getting him out of there. In this circumstance, you wonder if they're maybe taking a cue from the PM, because he didn't seem to be. I mean, if anything, the imagery is so spectacular. You've got flags flying behind him. Fuck Trudeau, and he's smiling, slowly making his way through.
I don't know if anyone else here has been to a Trudeau event, but being right in the crowds is something he really prides himself on. And I'm sure it drives his security absolutely batty. But watching that video, if anything had happened, there's no way to get him out of there quickly.
No.
Like, that crowd is pushed right up on him, and they're feeding off each other. They're feeding each other rage.
Yeah.
Like,
it's insane.
Yeah, they're just getting more and more and more rabid and pushing in closer. So I'm kind of surprised that his security team allowed that. And I applaud the Prime Minister for wanting to be amongst the people, and he's always been that way. That's who Justin Trudeau is. I think there's a point in time where he's actually putting other people at risk too. And when it's that volatile of a situation, just go. Just get in the SUV and go, because people are going to understand you couldn't do much as a result of the protesters there. But by staying there, it's too much of a risk. It's putting too many other people at risk.
The reason why I wanted to include it in our conversation today, number one, just because it's a very significant event that happened just yesterday. People expect Real Talk to talk about stuff like this, but also a reminder as we've spent an hour and we're a bit into overtime. I thank you all for your time. Hopefully we're not getting you fired from your new job, Carly. But it's a reminder as well that the vitriol and the poison and the aggression and the angst that we see online does also exist in real life. Yeah. And I believe that that's one of the many reasons why it does need to be taken seriously. I've so appreciated your insights on the show today. I wanted to let you know we'll end on a high note. Trash talk's gonna be great. It's a Trumpian trash talk today, but I can let you know that the number has bumped up since we've started doing the show here. The Alberta online auction. You just go to surplus.gov.ab.ca for the donair costume. This thing's currently the high bid at $10,505. This costume, the Alberta government, if you don't know the background, I'll tell the story in 2 sentences. So basically, the progressive conservatives, as they were preparing for cannabis to be legalized, this is back in 2014, 2015, they were going to put together an ad campaign for like a talking donair. And the donair was going to talk to people about to smoke weed and then drive their cars. And the donair was going to be like, hey, it's a bad idea to smoke and drive. Don't drive impaired. The NDP takes office, as the story goes. This per Brian Mason, who's joined us on the show just a short time ago. He was named Minister of Transportation. He came in, changing of the guard, change of government. They perceived that to be making light of impaired driving, and they killed the ad campaign. So this donair costume has just sat in a dusty old storage room up until a short time ago when they decided to auction it off. I have to suspect they were expecting it to go for $500, not $10,500. But two donair shops, donair businesses in Alberta and Nova Scotia are battling it out. And apparently there's like the Nova Scotia style donair, the Alberta style donair, and they're fighting for supremacy. This is one of the good news stories of things that can happen online.
Ryan, can I have $20,000 from you to bid on it?
Denied. Although
what if we all go in?
Well, Johnny and I, we often do discuss on things that we can, and we want to thank our Patreon supporters because you guys, our biggest backers, our Real Talk patrons, make whimsical conversations like this even possible for us to dream big.
Shout out to Tony today with the super chat for $5.
Oh, appreciate that. So we're not going to use our budget to buy the donair costume. But maybe one day, I mean, do you think the publicity of being the high bidder on this?
I think you should buy it and then do a show wearing the donair costume.
And fly in the people from Halifax and then bring in Alberta's best. I mean, the thing is, too, though, who are you going to say is Alberta's best? Donair. I mean, there's the king of donair, the queen of donairs. There's all these different donair shops. There's Blowers in Grafton, the restaurant chain that's doing this. Did you see there over the weekend, all the donairs that they sell this weekend, they're going to take $1 from every donair, donate it to MAD Canada to help combat impaired driving. So I thought that was kind of a neat and good news story. Kiki, I noticed your name was conspicuously absent from the high bidding here. This is something, you're just not in the mix on this one, eh?
All my money goes into slow fashion and skincare these days.
Oh,
I gotta have
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, very well done. I want to give a huge thanks to Carly Watson, Kathleen Kiki Smith, and Beverley Teresa for joining us here on this Real Talk Roundtable. It's been a lot of fun, and your insights have really been appreciated. You're helping a lot of people kind of better understand the landscape of social media, where you might find a good fit, and where it's okay to just throw in the towel. Coming up in 60 seconds, we're going to get to this week's edition of Trash Talk, but I wanted to let you know, how cool is it that a whole bunch of our Real Talk sponsors, the number one message they have for you right now is that they're hiring. So great, right? It's a competitive job market, we know, and that's why when a great opportunity pops up, we want you to be the first to hear about it. That includes our friends at Kubi Renewable Energy. Have you ever worked before for a company that has cold beer on tap and hosts Friday ball hockey tournaments? You want to work for a company that provides investment matching? What about one that's going to invest in your education and your career? They're even going to help contribute to your post-secondary studies. Wouldn't it be nice to work for one of the fastest growing companies in Canada at the forefront of the renewable energy industry? Johnny's showing us photos of their brand new office in Edmonton. What a stunning location it is. You've got the ability when you're with Kubi Renewable Energy to relocate across different cities in Alberta and British Columbia and help get Canada closer to its green energy goals. You can learn more about working at Kubi at kubienergy.ca. And for those of you that are right now considering pursuing post-secondary education, it could be a full-blown degree, graduate degree. Maybe you want to get after that PhD after a few years out of the mix. Take a couple of minutes today and check out athabascau.ca. It's Canada's open university. The best part about Athabasca U, number one, your only commute is to your device. Number two, you're going to learn at your own pace. You want to fast forward ahead? You can do it. You want to take some time away for mental health reasons, for vacation reasons, for family reasons, or otherwise, you're not going to fall behind in your course because you're setting the pace. It's one of the reasons why tens of thousands of Canadians trust their post-secondary experience to Athabasca University. You can learn more at athabascau.ca. Every Friday, our friends at Local Environmental Services give us a chance to blow off a little steam. You know, they give us a chance to say what needs to be said in front of an audience of thousands. These are all real emails that are received from real talkers just like you. It's a Friday tradition that we call Trash Talk! All right, this one, and this is a good one. We got a message here from Wayne. Wayne caught my attention, Johnny, when his subject line simply said, rant. I went, And Wayne says, Charles Adler has always been my favorite host. Sorry, Ryan, but he upset me this week. He says Chuck said that Joe Biden cannot beat Trump. Like, cannot. Wayne says Biden will win, and you and Chuck and everybody else but the lunatic fringe had better hope that he does. Chuck should give more credit to American voters. They are about 30% of people. 30% will buy anything Trump's selling, but the others know that he's pure bullshit. If elected, Trump will destroy democracy, says Wayne, in the excited states. I love that. He promises to go after political opponents like Joe Biden, Jack Smith, who are guilty of nothing. He fails to understand that you can't criminally charge someone just because you don't like them. Trump is promoting a sweeping expansion of presidential power. No hyperbole. He says that he'll remove or take control of essential government agencies, the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ. He plans to exert authority over every aspect of the U.S. government by taking control of independent agencies like the Federal Communications Commission. Would you like it, Ryan, if one person was able to boot you off the air if you didn't support his vile agenda? Trump will strip employment protection from tens of thousands of civil servants so they can be fired if they disagree with the dictator. He'll scour intelligence agencies, state departments, and defense bureaucracies to fire officials that are the sick political class, in his words, that hates our country. That's Trump talk for boo-hoo, they're mean to me. What's next? Will we have his opponents falling from 10th story windows? Wayne says we can be certain of his plans. Trump has boasted of his intentions at his rallies. He intends to be a dictator like his buddy Vlad and supreme leader like his pal Kim Jong-un. He's talked often of his admiration for those dictators and his desire to be just like them. If he wins, he will embolden a lunatic fringe in Canada as well. Now, Joe Biden's not perfect, but he's a damn sight better than that Putin wannabe Trump. Jespo, if you think Trump will win, I'm up for a bet. Name your stakes, buddy. That from Wayne. Wayne, I respectfully decline because there's no way in hell I'm betting on Trump. Thank you for the rant. You can send us your trash talk anytime to talk@ryanjesperson.com. It's proudly presented by our friends at Local Environmental Services. Thanks for tuning in to Real Talk this week. Many of you doing it on holiday. That means a lot to us. Have a safe and great weekend, and we'll see you back here again Monday on Real Talk.
Real Talk is hosted by Ryan Jesperson, executive